Hello, guys. Welcome to the Woolly Bee Podcast. This is episode 7, and today is December 9th, 2016. It's a Friday. Bye, Benji. My name is Sarah. My username on Ravelry is MacAttack, and my username on Instagram is Mac08Attack. Thank you so much for either coming back another time or for checking me out for the first time. I really appreciate it. So, it's been a couple weeks, as I expected it would have been. I have been really busy, as has been a running theme lately. With schoolwork, I last recorded at the beginning of my Thanksgiving break, though I didn't get the episode up until the end of that break. And then I went back last week for a whole week of class. And then I came back this past weekend, even though classes weren't officially finished, because I worked it out with my professors. I got offered a 2.5-week long sub job at my old high school in my content area. And so I knew it would be really, really good practice. So I took that. So I have been subbing all week, all day, and I will do that for the next week and a half until the kids locally get out for winter break. So, needless to say, progress is minimal, but it is what it is. Let's jump into the knitting. There's going to be not so much progress and a lot of retail therapy, so you've been warned. But first, let's jump into FOs! What? I haven't had an FO in, ever. I think I had one, 2 months ago. I don't knit large-ish projects when you don't have a lot of time to knit per day, because it takes forever to finish them. Somebody should have told me that. But my Lamina Wrap is done. So here is my Lamina Wrap. Let's see if we can get it all in frame. In all of its incredibly bright glory. So I finished this on Thanksgiving Day. That morning, I wove in the ends during the Thanksgiving Day parade. And I blocked it so I could wear it or have it when I was working at Fiberspace on Black Friday and Small Business Saturday. And so it's approximately 9 feet long. It's been scrunched up. I've worn it quite a few times already. I may reblock it. The blocking job I did on this was quite rushed. And at the time, I only had one set of the knit blockers from Knitter's Pride. And I since bought a second one because they're awesome. And giant projects like this need more than one box. And I didn't have any wires with me. I just had my mats, my pins, and my set of Knitter's Helpers, or whatever they're called. They come in a purple box. Instead of being a single pin used for blocking, if you haven't seen them, there are within the box, and they only come this way. You get 8 or 12 with 8 pins, and they're about 2 inches long. And then you get, I think it's 6 that are about 1 inch that have 4 pins. And they are used to help you get straight edges. And they do a fantastic job. So that's what I used to help block this baby out. But it was a true joy to have finished. I absolutely love wearing it. And it's crazy bright. Crazy bright. But when those gray winter days happen, I'm going to be very glad that I have a giant neon thing. So one last time, let me go through my colors. I actually ended on that end instead of started. So back here. Here's where I started. So this was my cast on edge. The light in here is okay. I don't think you're going to be able to see this, but we're going to, you can. So I did a crochet cast on because I'm really anal about these things and wanted my cast on and my bind off to match. So I used an F hook, maybe? It was whatever I had that was closest to my needle size. I used US 4. But it was perfect. It matches. It's, it does the job. When you hear noises, but you're home alone, So my gray is Periwinkle Sheep Wink in the slate colorway. Let me see. I don't know if we can get any of the sparkle. You can sort of see a piece of sparkle right here. My nails are not happening, so sorry. You can kind of see it. It's very subtle, which is perfect. Like, I did not need glitterific because it would have looked like a unicorn had pooped all over me, and I'm not about that. This is very unicornish, but we're not going that far. But my colors. So the gray was Periwinkle Sheep, which she has a new base of like yak and merino or something. It looks amazing and I want it. Called Delirium. That may be acquired over the weekend. But my colors here are all Hedgehog Sock Minis, which is it's the same base as her regular sock, and it's a merino nylon. It's a fairly light fingering weight. I personally would not use it for socks, but I know people have with success. But my colors start off with Sorry Not Sorry, Coral, Heyday. Heyday just simply does not show up in its fullest potential. But Heyday is a blend of Sorry Not Sorry, Kid You Not, which I'll show you, and Skinny Dip. At least that's what it looks like in my opinion. This here is Pinky Swear, which is slightly speckled and slightly mottled. Envy, super bright green. Kid You Not, which is, it's brighter than Traffic Cone Orange, in case you're wondering. Hush, ooh, okay. It's lighter than that, than it's showing. That's the right purple, but it is lighter than that. This next one is Jelly, which is a bit pinker. It's coming up a little red in my opinion. Skinny Dip, which is, oh, amazing. And Harajuku. Cool. I'm just looking to see if my colors match. So I did this color sequence 3 times. So there was the first one, the second one, and the third one. I used pretty much all the yarn. All of it's on my project page. Total yardage was like 1160, thereabouts. I ended up with like maybe 10 yards of each color left, and then a teeny bit more of the gray. So I have plans for what I'm going to do with it, because it's just enough where I can't throw it away, but there's like nothing useful I can do with it. And I do have a scrap yarn ball going that's where I put anything that's over like a yard, even a couple feet I'll put in it, which is close to a yard, that I just can't throw away, but is absolutely useless for anything else. And someday maybe I'll like make a thing out of it. So it was too much to go in that directly, so I decided I was going to find something, and I have something in mind, but I'm not going to spill the beans on that yet. But so this is my Lamina Wrap. I love it. I just take it. So here's how I wear it. I take it in my hands. I loop it together. I put it on. And bam. I am covered in Rainbow Bright. And yes, I'm wearing my snowflake sweatshirt, which I think I told you about last time. I will wear this in every episode from here to like April. So I have real clothes on underneath. But so this is it. The ends hang down like this, just down here. And there it is. So I do not have pictures as of this moment on my project page of me with the finished item, but I'm hoping to do that tomorrow, though it's going to be pretty cold outside, and if not, in the next week or two. I just need morning light, which I can't get when I'm working, and to have it not be cloudy or raining or snowing or cold or whatever. So that is that. This is the Lamina Wrap. It's by Amba O'Brien. Go knit yourself one because it's awesome. So that was a lot of talking about one item, but it's a big finish for me. So that's all I have for FOs. As for works in progress, I sort of have a couple things. Again, it's been really busy this week, so I've been trying to carve out some knitting time for sanity's sake, but I have not been getting much done progress-wise. So first up has had more negative knitting than not this week. Hey, ooh, kitty co-host. Hey, Ben. Come here. This is Benji. Benji says hi. Oh, Benji does not want to say hi right now. Benji. His tail looks better, though. You see that? It's getting fluffier. Come here. There he is. Say hi, Benji boy. You say hi? He does not like this at all. Okay. Hey, say hi. Look at you. Aren't you handsome? Yes. He's a good boy. Alright, so the kitty co-host is now gone, magically. He was done and the tablet was done. But we're going to go into works in progress. So the first thing on my needles has had a lot of negative knitting this past week. And literally looks like not much. That's all. Actually, it's this side. That's all I have. It's 4 rows. And right now it's all reverse stockinette. But this is going to be that Turtle's Journey cowl. Heather Anderson may be the designer, or I may be making that up. But a Turtle's Journey cowl is what the pattern is. I was actually almost done with the first panel, so there are 3 panels to the pattern. I was almost done with the first one, which is the turtles, until sometime earlier this week, I decided that I did not like the fabric. There are a lot of increases that happen right on top of each other to get the turtle shape. And I just had some funky holes going on that were just, it was a gauge issue, and I did not like the areas of reverse stockinette. They just seemed really loose. I was on a US 6, so I ripped it out and decided that I would be much happier if I went down to a 5. So I think the fabric is still loose, but obviously I'm not knitting a sock. It does not need to be super dense. So we're going to try it on a 5. I was a little bit farther than this until I realized today that I had dorked something up, which I dorked up the first time in had to fix. So I had to rip back about 4 rows. So yeah, it doesn't look like much, but I've put stitches into it and taken a lot out. It is currently being knit out of, see if I can pull it out of my bag. It's being knit out of Miss Babs Kunlun, which is a DK weight merino cashmere silk. This is not showing up accurately, but this is the Black Watch colorway. It's a hard one to describe. It's kind of like a dark teal leaning green. It's more green than teal, but it's more teal. It's not pure green. There's some blue in here. It's a lovely colorway. Just totally lovely. That's pretty accurate right there, if I hold it up close enough. If you take out the bluish parts, because that's from the screen. But, so that's what I'm knitting it out of. I don't believe I have the tag. Sorry. But it's a beautiful yarn. If you ever get a chance to get your hands on it, definitely do. It's pricey, but it's worth it. So I have everything. Currently living in my pink field bag, but specifically I have different projects in different smaller bags just to keep them separate. So this one is in my medium-sized You So-and-So alpaca bag. So let me shove that back in here, actually. And so my other work in progress, again, has had a lot of unknitting this past week. I guess that's what this week has been, but it was necessary. Are my brother's skew socks. So I had him try these on, I think before I recorded the last episode, and we figured out that they were a 1/2 inch too long, which is what I was guessing when I finished the heel. And while I could have just cut the toe, fixed it, I decided that ripping out the whole heel was ultimately going to be a better, easier decision for me. I know myself. I've done that toe surgery before, and it's annoying as all get out. So I went and I ripped out the whole heel. And hopefully you're not hearing my needles whack. So I'm about halfway through the heel again. I'm just about, if you're familiar with the Skew pattern, it's Skew by Lana Holden. It's a free pattern from Knitty from like 2009 or 10, I think. You'll find it if you search Skew. I have done all of the plain increases per se, and now I'm ready to start the heel shaping. There are some decreases that happen in conjunction with all of these increases to make the heel shape before you do the magic heel moment. I still need to rip out the second sock. I may have done that already. I don't know where the second ball is. I think I left that at school. Because, no, I wouldn't have. I don't know. No idea. But there's a second sock. I started it. I screwed it up royally. I don't know where it is. I touched it last Sunday, so it's somewhere. But, so this is what this looks like. This is just where I finished the regular foot section. But I'm knitting this out of Knitterly Things Vesper with nylon in the Kaleidoscope colorway. Again, I don't know where the tags are. I have two. They're, I think, over there. I don't know. Sorry, guys. But I'm knitting these on two circular needles, two 24-inch Chowgu needles, which I love. And these are US 1.5 needles. So that is that. The cowl is right now priority number 1 because I would really like to get that done and mailed off to my aunt for Christmas, though I have nothing for my uncle. And I'm not knitting him anything. It just ain't gonna happen. So yeah, that's kind of awkward, but I would like to get these done for Christmas, but Christmas is not that far away, and I want to knit a lot of stuff for me. Yeah. So, is what it is. I do have in this bag, and this is going to touch on all of the stashing that happened, that we'll talk about, that's over here on the couch. I have not started this. This was, every day when I go to work, I have a planning block. So I guess let me back up and tell you about that. But because I am a substitute, they do not believe that I am required to have my planning block. Even though I'm teaching these kids, I'm actually teaching these kids. Like, I'm not just sitting there like, go do this worksheet. And so I do, to some degree, use that time to plan. The plans are already done, but to review the material, because I haven't seen some of this in a long time. It's earth science and biology. The earth science I'm so much more confident on. But that's my content, primary content. That's what I will teach. I have plenty of background in biology. That was my second major in undergrad. But just because you majored in it in undergrad, and I was like, on it, because they made it really complicated. Because they were trying to weed out pre-meds. Sorry, that was my phone. Who remembers all the different kinds of transport in and out of the cell off the top of their head? Not me. So just trying to refresh myself, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this stuff, but you know, you gotta do that. So long story short is I have a planning block every day, but the school reserves the right to pull me as a sub and put me in another class that needs a sub for that block, which I get. But if they would just hire more subs, this wouldn't be an issue. They don't want to pay us. So I needed a project, should I get pulled, that was not going to require thinking. The turtle cowl requires thinking because it's flat knitting with a right and wrong side. I am an in the round knitter. We'll just leave it at that. And because I have extra yarn, so instead of having the 3 turtles just be 3 turtles, I'm going to stagger them. And I have it all written out, but it just like takes more brain power than I have these days. And the socks, again, there's just multiple rows and they're not hard. But when you're constantly getting up and down with kids, or the phone's ringing, or somebody needs to go to the bathroom, or whatever, it's just not the best project. So I put in my brand new little sheepy bag from Ravelry. I got the little zipper pouch. And this is a sheep with all the different sheep breeds on it. And this does not have a typo, in case you know about that. And the back just says Ravelry.com. But I've stuck in here just in case I had the time. I have multiple circular needles in case my gauge is off, which it probably will be. This is Crave yarns. They're one base. It's their fingering weight singles merino in the Untamed colorway, I believe. It's Untamed or Pyrenees Blossom. I believe it's Untamed. There's a project page for a shawl from earlier this year that used this. But I had to barely cut into a second skein. So I've got like 370 yards left. And the Scrollwork hat by Lamina Wrap, maybe? Type in Scrollwork, you'll find it. Uses the same cable pattern that was partially used in the border for the shawl I knit out of this, which was Ashlyn by Justina Lorkowska. And so I thought, hey, I can make a match. And that should be pretty simple once I get that going, especially because the beginning is ribbing. So that lives in here, which lives in here until I can get it started. And it's not necessarily a project I would like to knit it, obviously, but it's not a priority project, but it will be a good travel project if and when that need arises. And so yes, all of this stuff plus some notions fit in my field bag that I love. So that's what's in my needles right now. I would love to have all the things in the needles, but nope. I have not cross-stitched, not because I haven't wanted to, but knitting has been number one right now, and it's taken a back seat, so they'll be cross-stitched soon, I hope. Once I can get at least one of these, at least once I get the cowl done, I'll be a little bit more willing to do some other crafting. Yeah. Creepy house sounds, it's freaking me out. Alrighty, so now we are going to go stashing through the snow. For the record, there is no snow here in Northern Virginia. I would like there to be snow. While I am having a blast subbing, I mean, who doesn't want a snow day? I know I do. No snow. And, statistically, we're not going to see snow until mid-January anyways, so whatever. It's cold. It's cold here right now. Some cold air moved in today, and it was right around freezing the whole day and windy. And at some point today, when I did get pulled at subbing, I had to go from one building to another. And it was like 50 feet maybe from door to door, and I was like, oh god. Oh god. It's just because we're not used to it. I know next week, this time, it's going to be really, really cold again as well. And really, really cold is upper 20s, low 30s, because we have had 50 and 60 degree days up until now. So, it's all in perspective. But let's go stashing. And by a lot, I mean 3, 4, handful of these things were purchased before the last recording, but I did not have them with me because a lot of them were at school or needed to be picked up from Fiberspace, and I was here at home. So, they were already owned, just not showed. So, a lot of this did happen in the last couple weeks, but not all of it. So I'm just going to kind of go through it in no particular order. I'm going to go through the order that makes the most sense sitting here on the couch next to me. So first up is some of the last stuff I actually acquired. I went to Knit Group. There's a local knitting guild here in the city where I live. It's an interesting place because I am the youngest by probably 20 years, 15, 20 years. Let's just be safe. And there's nothing wrong with that. It is mostly women who are probably my mom's age, so in their 60s and 70s. A lot of them, though, my mom had kids really late, so she acts a lot younger than she is, I think. Because I see other people her age, and I'm like, oh, that's how people in their mid-60s are normally acting. So they're all older, they all mostly have grandkids, or they're in that phase of their life, and we tend to knit very different things. But they absolutely loved this, which I was surprised at, because normally they're very, like, to be stereotypical here, very mauve kind of people. But they loved it, you know. Hi, Lily. Lily, are you hungry? Are you hungry? Do I need to feed you? Okay, I'll feed you when I'm finished. I don't know if you guys can hear. Hopefully you can't. In the room that way, our dining room is where the cats eat. And they have dry food all the time. And they are really, really good at chewing their dry food really loudly when they're hungry. And they know that we're in the next room. And we've had this happen since they were babies. And so they've both taken turns going in there and chomping. So they haven't been fed for a while. So she's sitting down here because she would like to know what I'm doing and would like some more food. But back to knitting group. So I went, and one of the women, I guess her mom is older and was going through some stuff and finally agreed to get rid of it. And so she had a couple big bags of stuff that was free. And a lot of it needed to just be thrown away. Like stained crochet cotton and cross-stitch fabric, and didn't want that. But I did flip through a handful of the magazines and books and found some that are quite interesting. I don't have everything here. I believe the rest of it's still in my car. But I have a handful of booklets that I picked up that are kind of awesome. And they're old antique. And by antique, I mean like 20 years, so don't be offended, Denise. The first one is Cross Stitch Christmas. It was from Better Homes and Gardens from 1995. But there was, let me see if I can find it real quick. Because, you know, you're flipping through these really quick because you and everybody else is pawing at stuff. I do actually, this is plastic canvas, but I kind of love it. Plastic canvas nativity set. And it's actually marketed up in this paragraph as something you can make when you have kids around, because they can play with it and touch it without breaking it. So I kind of actually love that. And it's finer gauge than like the plastic canvas crap I used when I was a kid. And so if I could find it, I would totally consider making that. And there was one more thing in here if I can find it. This poor booklet in particular had its pages all messed up, like down in the corner, and so it just doesn't hold well. Here it is. Okay. They call these Here Comes Santa, and they're 3 kind of old-timey Santa Clauses, which I love. So I have that booklet. I got, I guess it's the same magazine, Better Homes and Gardens, Creative Ideas, Cross Stitch Christmas from 1991. For the record, this was before I was born. Sorry if I just made you feel old, Denise. Sorry, Denise gets the reference. But here was the edition from 1991. And in here, what did I like? Oh, first off, I need to ask my mom. But there's a pattern in here that is pictured, photographed alongside some dishware. And I'm pretty sure we own that dishware. Yeah. So here. pretty sure we own that plate. And then this is the pattern for like stuff like that, which is cute. I probably would never make it, but I need to find out if we actually own that plate because that's kind of crazy. But what kind of sold me on this, not that I paid for it, here were a bunch of, they call them international Santas. And so there are a whole bunch of Santa Clauses in the style of Santas from all over the world, which is awesome. You can make like a little vignette of them or something. So I really liked that. And there was another thing that I really liked in here. Oh, here it is. They call this Old World St. Nicholas. This is kind of a zoomed in picture. But it's kind of this old-timey St. Nicholas with a whole bunch of woodland animals. So they have different ones in the corners, and it tells you how to make the corner ones into separate ornaments. Like stitch them separately from the whole pattern. So I love that as well. The only thing that creeps the crap out of me, to be honest, is this. I'm honestly trying to figure out how this is not terrifying. You cross-stitch its face. And so, for part of the pattern, that's the diagram. That is terrifying. Ain't happening. I mean, it's clever. Ain't happening. But so that was the edition from 1991. Another one that I got, this is just a little booklet. It was pretty. I don't know if I'll ever make this, but because really, I have enough patterns to last me for like 30 years. It's just some orchids and hummingbirds, but I thought these smaller ones were really pretty and something I might actually stitch. And then the last one I got was just cross-stitch Mother's Day Favorites. This was from June of 1992. For the record, I still wasn't born yet. But what sold me was this cover piece. And that's what I really love. The colors, the style, I really like that. And I'm a March baby, so we always had daffodils because that's the March flower. So I just really like that. That's about the only thing in here I could actually see myself stitching for realistically, but yeah, so those are all free. And then I also got, let's see, I got, because I was super obsessed about learning it when I was in middle school, I never did, but Hawaiian Quilting Made Easy. So I actually haven't even flipped through it until now, but it looks cool. Otherwise, it's just kind of fun. I don't know how old it is. I don't know. It's cool. 1992, but it's free. And I got, in this whole thing, I got a couple small wooden embroidery hoops, which are not necessarily great quality, but I'm hoping I could practice framing in the hoops sometime. And if it screws up, I didn't pay anything for them. I did get a couple pieces of fabric that were there free that had not been opened, because I like to use these smaller pieces if and when I pretend like I make ornaments. So one is 14 count Aida in like a pale yellow, maybe? I don't know. That. I got another one that I think is also a pale yellow that's 18 count Aida. And I got a piece that is navy 14 count Aida. So, yeah, I mean, they're nothing fancy, but they're good for little scraps and little quick stuff. I got a Floss Fly floss organizer, but this is good where you can loop your floss through for smaller projects. They had a giant one that was free yarn, but it was like that big. And then I'm not going to pull all this out, but there were a bunch of single skeins of DMC, and then others that were in these floss away bags. that look like enough to fill in stash when you have a skein here or there, or to just use for ornaments and small stuff like that. This floss is probably as old as I am, but for little stuff, it's still great. So that was all free that I picked up at Knit Group the other night, and my theory was if I end up not wanting it, I can always just donate it. That's not a big deal. And then the last, well, not the last thing, the next thing, so I got my little Ravelry pouch. I also placed, because one of these came back in stock, I think it was the pouch, or the water bottle I noticed. I got the Ravelry water bottle, which I clearly have not yet washed or used. But it is this aqua blue camelback, which I love camelbacks. My green camelback. And it has little sheep frolicking among knitted trees on crocheted hills. How stinking cute is that? And the lid is blue. So, Jillian at Fiberspace has had one of these for quite some time, and I've always wanted one, and they were in stock, so I picked it up, and this was ridiculously cheap. It's like 12 or 15 bucks, which, that's how much you're going to pay for a regular camelback, so it might as well be a Ravelry camelback. I know a lot of people have requested them to do multiple colors. I would totally buy multiple colors, but I am in love with camelbacks. I did not have this color, so now I do. Come the new year, I'll probably buy a pink camelback, because girls gotta have all the colors. Alright, so we're gonna continue stashing. So over the, I guess it was after Black Friday, that weekend, I noticed that Sunday or Monday, like end of November, that Little Fox Yarns was having a 15% off sale through Cyber Monday, or Tuesday, I don't remember. I'm kind of obsessed with their yarns, so that does not give you all permission to go buy all of them, because I want all of them. Sorry. But there was a colorway of hers that I almost bought when I discovered her stuff at Shenandoah Fiber Festival back in September. And I didn't buy it because I had bought Lord knows enough that day. But I kept thinking about it, and there was pattern I'd picked, and I knew that they were meant to go together, and so I took my turn to buy them. So this is her Vixen base, which I only have her Vixen base. I have not even knit with it yet, and it's amazing. But I got it in the mulberry colorway, which, that's not quite accurate. That's pretty good. So this base is 400 yards of fingering weight, 80% superwash merino, 20% silk. This is the mulberry, so it's a slightly reddish purple. And this is going to be the Asana shawl, or shawlette, by Curious Handmade. It was in her Shawl Society earlier this year. And it's garter body, crescent shaped with a lace beaded edging. So I'm gonna hopefully get some beads for this weekend, which reminds me that I should put it in the pile of things to take with me to get beads this weekend. And because if you're gonna order, sorry, I'm trying to not knock all the things over. If you're gonna order one color, you might as well order two, right? So I ordered, in the Vixen base as well, Blue Boy. That's actually fairly accurate. It's not quite that green, but that's pretty darn accurate. It's a very grayish blue, and it's stunning. She was sold out of a lot of colors by the time I found the sale. This was not one of them, and this, I mean, I looked at the picture before I even looked to see if it was in stock, and I was like, ooh, me want. So, it's just absolutely gorgeous. This light's not doing it justice. But it's a very gray, slate, steely blue, and it's just gorgeous. So I have two of them, obviously. No plans yet, but I love it. I want all of her colors. Let's see, we're just going to kind of go through one bag at a time. I'm not entirely certain what I've even put in each bag. Like, why is there... Oh. When you pack stuff up to come home for winter break and you don't know what you've done, and you're like, oh, that's where you put stuff. Okay, so back in October, my parents went up to New York the last weekend of October, and I asked my mom if she would go to Pearl Soho for me and pick me up something. And I let her pick, which this may or may not have been what I would have picked, which is odd because she totally knows what I like, which I love it. So I guess she's not wrong there. But so she picked me up some Pearl Soho line weight. It's a fingering weight, 100% merino single, 494 yards. And so I have 2 of them, and this is the super pink colorway. Yep, it's that pink. And I have 2. Holy freaking cow. It's really pink. I probably would not have done this pink, but it's kind of awesome. So I have the shawl picked out. I cannot remember the name off the top of my head, but I had originally wanted to do it in obnoxiously bright pink, and this has enough yardage. It's a beaded shawl, so again, I need to pick out some beads. We're going to see if those 2 are about to fight. They might. But it's super squishy. It's so soft. And it'll make a really cool shawl. The only downside to the shawl I picked, whatever it's called, is it's a bottom-up crescent shawl, so you have to cast on like 600 trillion stitches. But I do really love this. It's so squishy and so pink, and yeah. So I got that. And then I also placed, and they're just going to be crinkling here in a minute, a Miss Babs order in early-ish November because I saw a colorway that I really liked, and it was a Wild Iris. Now so I love Babs. The only issue I had was that this, even though I requested what I wanted mine to look like, this really doesn't look like it. So I'm holding on to it for now. It ultimately will match a pair of Babs socks that I have, if I decide to keep it. Otherwise, it may be really good for my mom. I also just need to open up the skein and really dig into it a bit more because I think it's just not what I was going for, but it's still really lovely. It's the Party Animal colorway. This is what it looks like. So originally I wanted it to be pink with hits of purple, orange, and green. And what it ended up, and that's what I requested, what ended up happening was it was pink with red and a little bit of green. So it's just not quite what I was originally going for. It's still lovely. It's Yowza. And it will be something beautiful. But, so I got that. And I don't really know why I did this, but I did. I got some silk hankies because in a brief moment, I really do actually want to do this, but for like a hot second, it overtook my mind. Wanted to make some Mawada mittens or silk hanky mittens. Stephanie Pearl McPhee, the Yarn Harlot, has a tutorial. If you Google it, you'll find it. It's like the first thing that comes up. But so ultimately, I'm going to do those out of this, which is oyster. I'm not going to take it out of the bag, but it is 1.3 ounces, which should be plenty, hopefully. And then, because I could get it without having to add to my shipping, I got 0.9 ounces of sugar, which is, I love this color. So I got those as well with the oyster, or with the Yowza. And everything else that's in this particular bag is cross-stitch related, that you guys have seen before. It's me planning for my big epic project that I haven't started yet. When I bought like the 90 colors of floss or whatever. So that is bag number 1 of many more. As I said, we're stashing through the snow, guys. Just don't judge me, please. Okay. So the rest of this should have been around Black Friday. If not, whatever. So I got 3 skeins of shepherd's wool from Stonehenge Fibers, or Stonehenge Fiber Mill, in the Zinnia colorway. For a cowl that was written for sport weight, and I'm like, screw that, I'm just going to make it in worsted because I wanted this color. I got 1 skein of the Fiber Company Cumbria, and it's not red, it is pink, in Cowberry. This will be either a hat or mittens. I got, and not everything is in. Oh, I know what I did. I was trying to be all sneaky. I have 3 skeins of Fiber Company Aaronmore, which is one of their newer yarns, in the Mira colorway. This is an Aran weight, so I have 3 of these. It's navy blue. Ooh, that doesn't show up. Let me see if you can. So there you can see the flecks of light blue. There are also flecks, you can kind of see them there, of red. But it reads as navy, it's a navy blue. This is going to be, it's probably going to be a shawl that I believe Justina Lurkowska just came out with called Sone. If not, it'll be some other Aran weight shawl. I have 1 skein of Monostil Uruguay Maxima in the natural colorway for a hat. This is going to be a running theme. I'm not going to take both out. I have 2 skeins of Eco Wool in the H049 colorway, which I believe came up as tarnish. It's like a brownish gray. I have 2 of them to make a schlanket. It's a big giant lace shawl that I want to make, and I was like, oh, that's a perfect yarn. So I have 2 of these. I will not use all 2. That would be really crazy pants. I have 2 of each of these, but I'm not going to show them to you. I have got Hazelnut's Cadence in Sedge and Druid. And these are going to be for the Copenhagen Calling Cowl by Isabella Kramer. You guys have probably seen it. It's a nice 2-color cowl. It's written, I believe, for DK maybe. I'm going to do it in worsted because I like these colors. So I have 2 of each. And last thing in this bag is just another set of knit blockers. And if I don't repackage this, it will never get back in the bag as it's supposed to. And the cats will get to it. Or the yarn will undo itself. Because right now, I'm not sure where the 2 of them have gone off to, but they're probably killing each other somewhere. But I can't hear it, so it can't be too terrible. So let's see. I have 2 skeins of Woolfolk Far in the 00 colorway, which is like a pure white, to make a cabled hat. I have 2 skeins of Woolfolk Tove in the T0 colorway, which is effectively the same thing I just showed you, but a slightly different weight and different yarn construction. And oh man, if you have not felt this stuff, go feel it. There's a squish to Tove that is amazing. So I bought this on Friday and went back and bought more of it on Saturday. Alright, I finally got my hands on some of the brand new Brooklyn Tweed Arbor. And I cannot wait to knit with it because it just, I keep hearing the most amazing things about it. And now having squished it and felt it and owned it, it's pretty awesome. So this is, Brooklyn Tweed came out with a new DK weight yarn month and a half ago. It is a worsted spun yarn, which means it's more like most yarns that you're used to dealing with, as opposed to their woolen spun yarns like Shelter and Loft that break more easily, have a lot more air in them. So Arbor's not going to give you any of the strength issues that the others would give you while knitting. And it's just, there's a bounce and squish to it that's so nice. It is 100% Targhee, I believe. Yep, 100% American Targhee. The sheep are out in Montana and South Dakota. It's spun in Maine and it's dyed in Maine. So it's really cool stuff. So I got 3 skeins of the parka colorway, which is olive green, think Barber jacket, to make a cowl from the Arbor collection, the High Pines cowl. And then I got 3 more skeins. I got Hammock, which I'm going to guess this is undyed. It's white and it's beautiful. Crumb, which is a nice camel color. And Fleet, which looks black but is navy, perfect navy blue. So these 3 are going to go together in a Fair Isle hat. The hat is called Folklore. I don't remember the designer. And I fell in love with the hat right before Black Friday, because I heard about the indie gift along, which there's a group on Ravelry. Unfortunately, the coupon period is now over. But what they did from November 22nd to November 30th was like 330 some odd designers participated, and every participating designer chose up to 20 of their patterns to bundle, and during that time period those patterns were all 25% off. And so I got a whole bunch because pretty much if it was in my queue already and it was part of the promotion, basically I bought it because why not? And I got a couple other patterns that I stumbled upon along the way. Folklore was one of them. It was DK weight. Arbor was perfect. Somebody actually knit at Arbor, or hat out of Arbor, that hat. So I couldn't resist. While it is too late to get the discount, it is not too late to join in on the knit along itself. All the rules are in the group. It's my first year kind of checking it out, but from my understanding is that you can knit any pattern from the participating designers. And if the pattern was a paid-for pattern, you can enter for prizes. So it doesn't have to be part of the sale promotion if you don't want to. But check it out. It's really cool. I'm hoping I can knit that hat or some other stuff for the knit along part. Because we're still stashing, I got, because I am fringe bag obsessed, a blue one, which I totally did not want one of these when the blue came out, but now that I have pink and natural and gray, I decided I needed blue, and because I know I'm getting orange. So I got the blue ones, or a blue one, and it has more goodies in it. So I got 2 skeins of Woolfolk Far in the color 11 colorway, which is, again, navy blue. Yeah, that just doesn't show it, but it's navy blue. I got 2 more skeins of Tauve, this time in color T1, which is their lightest gray. And it just, oh god, it feels so good. So I'm hoping they rapidly expand their color line, because I want to knit everything out of this yarn. Ooh, squish. It's so good. And then the rest of this is Neighborhood Fiber Company Rustic Fingering. So I got 2 skeins of Roland Park, which is her undyed. Ah, no! Lily was scratching the rug. right next to the cat scratcher. She flicks her tail at me when I tell her no. She's hungry, that's all. So, the Natural, Roland Park. I have 2 of these. I have 2 Fells Point, which is green with gold. And this yarn is 100% superwash merino, 440 yards. It's a great yarn. So 2 Fells Point. It's, yeah, I guess that's fairly accurate. There's some of the gold. So these guys are going to go together in the Lindisfarne wrap by Lucy. I think it's Hag, Hague. Maybe it's Hag, I don't know. She does really cool cable stuff. So they're going to be Lindisfarne wrap. I'd really like to knit this winter because it's amazing. I have it for St. Patrick's Day. And then I have 2. I actually own 3. I went and bought a 3rd over the phone. And it's sitting at Cyberspace waiting for me to pick it up. Of the Riverside colorway. And it's not quite that dark. It's a little bit lighter, but it's a true icy blue. And this is going to be a crocheted shawl. Right? But it was part of the indie gift along. I stumbled upon it. It's called Zirka, Z-I-R-K-A. The designer is Russian, but the pattern's in English, and it looks to be beautifully written. I opened up the file. I fall almost into a trap where I always will buy 2 skeins to make a shawl, fingering weight shawl, because for knitting, that's typically what you're going to need. So, like, when I bought the blue from Little Fox, it's going to be plenty for almost everything, or I can make it work. So I was just like, I just need 2. No, it's crochet. Crochet eats yarn. I needed a 3rd. So I called the next day once I got back to school and bought a 3rd one over the phone. So that is that. And there's a couple more things. I ordered over the phone at Cyberspace like early November because I wanted some of the stuff before Black Friday. I got 2 skeins of M-Yak lace in whatever this color is. Emerald. This is not emerald. This is tealy aqua. It's pretty accurate. It's not emerald, but it's beautiful. And this is 100% yak, baby yak. So it's really, really beautiful, nice and soft. I got some, I don't know what's going on with the packaging. Some Lazadas. These are flexible blocking wires. I got the deluxe set, which includes 10 wires at 35 inches long, 5 wires at 70 inches long, and 60 nickel-plated T-pins. So, because I've only heard wonderful things about these, and I was finally like, you need to just get some. And then I got West Knits, Best Knits. I got this right about the time he was having a sale on his patterns, and so anything that was in here I did not get as part of the sale. But I got this guy, and you know what's super cool? It's signed. He was at Cyberspace back in October, and he signed all of their copies, and they still had some. So it's not signed to me, but it is signed by Stephen West. And I got a copy of Knitting Fresh Brioche by Nancy Marchand. And I love this scarf. I want this scarf. But if I enjoy brioche as much as I do, I really should have the book by the master. And it's got patterns as well as it's just kind of like a brioche stitch dictionary. Side note with this book. There's a model in here. Just not quite sure what's happening here, like with him. It's just very odd to me. Very odd. But the patterns are beautiful. So if you can if you're interested in brioche, especially brioche patterning, she gives you all of the basics on repairing mistakes, different techniques. It's kind of a great learn brioche and grow with brioche book. It retails for $24.95. So I have that. The West Knits Best Knits retails for $35. And I will be getting the cable source book tomorrow. So those are all my goodies for stashing through the snow. That's all I have for knitting. As I said, I've been subbing this past week, and I have been loving it. I'm in 4 ESOL Earth Science classes and 2 ESOL Biology classes, and I absolutely love it. I have a co-teacher with me for 4 of those classes, which makes a huge difference. Sorry, there's my phone again. But the kids are absolutely adorable. They're so sweet. They're chatty, but they're really good kids. Most of them have only been here a couple years, and they, for the most part, just really want to learn and are absolute sweethearts. So I've been having a great time. It's been really good. So yeah, we're winding down my semester. I finish by Monday. That's when everything's due by. So I'm going to go do some more work tonight. I'm getting all the work done from home. But it's been a busy week with working and doing work, but it's been really awesome. I have gotten so much out of this sub job, more than any other, and I would not have traded it for the world. So it was totally worth it. But last thing is, I am in my living room at home, because I have all the lights on. Over here is my Christmas tree, so I'm going to actually rotate us over that. So there's my Christmas tree. And the light in the window here, we have candles, like the fake candles. That is a terrible view of our Christmas tree. Oh, and here is our mantle. And somebody will actually hang the stockings up, though the cats sometimes think they're toys, and they're not, because they're handmade, felted, beaded, sequined masterpieces that my grandmother made. So yeah, no cats. We do not have all the lights on the tree yet, because there are sections of our fake tree that the lights don't work anymore, so we have to adjust. And we will not put the ornaments or the garland on the tree until the lights are fixed. And my dad conveniently had hand surgery yesterday, and I don't know why he scheduled that for now, but he did. He's fine. He chipped some bone down here with a baseball, the baseball met his hand, and his hand lost about a year ago, and it's just been causing problems ever since. So he's fine. They're at the Kennedy Center right now with my mom. I wasn't invited, but whatever. And so, yeah, we'll get the tree decorated hopefully this weekend. My mom and I are going to spend a day in Alexandria tomorrow, do some Christmas stuff. We spent a day, the day before Thanksgiving, we went to Georgetown together, and we went to a handful of different shops. I got some really good stuff. My own Lily Pulitzer DC scarf. It's pastel and super pretty, so I have a Virginia scarf and now a DC scarf. We went to Georgetown Cupcakes, because that's what you do when you go to Georgetown, which I'd never been. So that was a lot of fun. So yeah, it's been a really great couple weeks. And yeah, until next time, I hope you guys have a good holiday season, get into the spirit. I'm hoping to record a week from Monday, probably, or thereabouts. Maybe a week from Wednesday. I probably won't record next week. I just probably won't have anything to show. But until the next episode, it should be before Christmas. I wish you all the best. If you guys have any questions, suggestions, anything like that, let me know. Again, that long-promised raft group is hopefully coming, and yeah, this was a longer episode because I stashed all the things. And yeah, thanks for sticking around if you're still here. Have a great week, guys, and thanks for watching.